struggled with emotional eating for as long as I can remember, and I knew that my relationship with food was not the same as what it was with other people. I knew that I found myself compulsively looking for food or feeling this urge to eat whenever I felt any kind of way, and that was something that I wish I'd addressed significantly sooner. If you don't know me yet, my name is Clara. I'm a chartered psychologist, a HCPC registered sport and exercise psychologist, and a fitness coach. And I help people work on their relationship with food, their relationship with exercise, and their relationship with themselves, so they stop emotionally eating, so they can actually stay consistent with their training, and so they can actually move through the world doing things that actually bring them joy and fulfillment, making sure that health and fitness is something that adds to that and doesn't take away from it. And I want to take you back around about a decade. So I just been away for a family trip, and at this time in my life, I was incredibly stressed about food, about my body. I was consistently obsessed with trying to lose weight. I couldn't see the wood from the trees. Everything had to be super mega ultra controlled. I was literally carb cycling, macro tracking. I was intermittently fasting. I was doing everything to try to lose weight because I felt horrific in my body, and I would be fine when I was in control of my routine, of my environment, but see the moment that something just changed a little bit in my routine, or if something unexpected happened, I would feel like I would lose the plot. And so going away for the trip with my family, as much as it was amazing to spend time with them, it was a source of huge anxiety for me, because it meant spending a week away of my routine, away from a gym, away from my normal eating environment. So this particular thing happened on the day that I was leaving to travel back to Scotland, which is where I live. And I remember vividly waking up, and it's as if someone had just pissed in my cornflakes. I was grumpy, I was in a bad mood, and I think my parents were also in a bad mood, and we had a horrible argument on my way to the airport for them to drop me off. And I just remember being fucking raging. Like, I was feeling just like, what? Just there's that kind of emotion that, like, it just feels too much. Like, I actually didn't even know where to go with that feeling. And I remember I got off the plane in Edinburgh once I landed, and I was still fuming. And in one of these moments where I was like, you know, getting off the plane, walking down the stairs, I can't remember exactly where it was, but like I had my phone in my hand, and I must have like flung it, or like it dropped out of my hand and the screen cracked. And that sent me over the edge. I was not okay. I remember in that moment, my sole thought being, I need to eat, I need to eat, I need to eat, I need to eat. It's like that thought was just looping through my head over and over and over. And I just could not get it out of my head. And I remember, you know, going through security, going through the whole like customs bit and whatever, coming out of Edinburgh airport into the Marks and Spencer, what used to be Marks and Spencer's, and just going in there just like, just looking, just desperately looking for food, for something to buy. And I ended up settling on, you know, a small bar of dark chocolate. In my head at this point, I was still like, I need to eat something, but I better not to be too many calories. I can't binge, I can't fuck it up here, but I need to eat something. But like, oh my, and I was just like looping. And so I remember I then got on the tram. I had this chocolate bar in about like half a second, just inhaled it to even feel myself chewing on that thing. I can't believe I didn't fucking choke. And I was on the tram, and I just remember again that obsessive loop thinking of like, well, I've had some chocolate now, I've ruined it. So my brain, it was honestly like watching a gymnastics competition happen in my head, but with my thoughts. So on the one hand, I had one thought doing backflips, thinking, oh, you know, you better get off like one stop early on the tram and go to this shop over there. You can definitely buy some, like, you know, some shake to eat, some junk food, some chocolate. They've got this vegan stuff there. They've got this, they've got that. And on the other side, my head was just like, nah, you can't fuck it up. Like, you have to stay strict. You've already fucked it, so you better be super strict. Like, you can't eat your normal dinner now. You're gonna have vegetables. That's all you're gonna have, vegetables and protein. And it was like, whoa, both sides of my brain just pulling, you know, from one side to the other, pushing and pulling. And it was horrific. And I'm on this tram journey, you know, pretending to be normal, feeling super stressed. My phone's fucking cracked. I'm stressed, you know, I'm not feeling okay. I'm feeling so emotionally dysregulated, and I somehow managed to convince myself to not get off a stop early on the tram, to actually get onto my bus. And I remember getting into my flat and basically dumping my shit in my bedroom, going into the kitchen, opening the cupboards, and finding that I had a brand new box of Furiously Cinnamon cereal. So if you've never had that, it's absolutely top tier. And I remember in that moment, like, it's like a switch had just flipped in my head. I remember sitting on the floor in the kitchen, and I had the box of cereal there. I just opened it, and I was sat there, tears pouring out of my eyes, just bawling my eyes out there, just hand in the cereal box into the mouth. It was like, and I just remember being so upset, so distressed. It was like my nervous system was completely fried. I was not okay. I was so not okay. And all the while I'm eating and sobbing my eyes out, I'm having the same thought of like, I need to stop eating. I need to get a fucking grip. What the fuck am I doing? It was non-stop. And yet, no amount of me telling myself that was actually helping me stop myself from eating, because I was so dysregulated that food was actually in that moment helping me. Now, I didn't know this at the time because I had just come out of my undergraduate degree in psychology, where none of this relationship with food, with body, with self-image, etc., or self-esteem had really been covered in depth. But now in hindsight, I know that at the time I was so dysregulated and didn't have any other skills to support myself in that moment, to soothe myself, to calm myself, that I was reaching for the one thing that I knew had always worked, which was food. And so it was like I was getting more upset because I was eating more, but the more upset I was getting, the more I needed to continue to eat, because it was helping me soothe from that anxiety, from that stress, from that sadness, from that anger, from all the things that I was experiencing in that moment. And it's interesting to reflect back on it now, because honestly, if anybody had heard the things that I was saying to myself inside of my head, like, it was horrific. That was, bullying doesn't even come closer. Like, that was abuse inside of my head. And I remember the next day, like, obviously eventually I calmed down. My then boyfriend and now husband came in and helped me kind of like regulate myself, and I wasn't going to continue to binge in front of him because I never binge in front of anybody. And I remember just waking up the next day, I can't even describe it, like, just feeling so disgusted in myself, like like this is slimy feeling of filth, of feeling fat, of feeling bloated, of just waking up and making plans of like, right, today, like, that's it, like, I need to restrict again, like, I'm just going to go on a cut, like, basically undo the damage, I'm going to get to the gym and all the stuff. But like, all the while I'm exhausted from this like huge emotional outburst that I didn't really know where it had really come from, and like, it wasn't really making sense. I mean, of course, in hindsight I can look back and go like, okay, I was so rigidly fixated on like needing to follow my food rules because that's what helped me feel in control. I didn't feel good enough, and so I relied on following these strict rules, like this sort of societally imposed rules of how to eat and how to train. Like, I relied on that to give me a sense of self-esteem. And so when that was taken away from me, or when I didn't have access to it, like being on holiday with my family, I just lost my shit. Like, I could not cope with that. It was too much. It breaks my heart to think about it, actually. It's like quite, you know, it's a distressing memory. It was a really distressing time at the time too, obviously. And as I was saying, the next day I woke up just feeling the shame and the awful feelings and the exhaustion that you get the day after a binge, the day after you've been super emotionally just dysregulated, crying your eyes out, like all of it mixed together. And I also remember just having this recurring thought of like, this happens all the time. Like, why can you never learn from this? Like, why do you keep repeating this pattern? And I genuinely thought that I was just fucking stupid. I thought I was undisciplined. I thought I didn't have enough control around food. I thought that was why I kept repeating this cycle over and over. And what I wish I could go back and tell that younger version of me is that if only I'd just taken a break, if only I'd just taken a moment, a pause, to actually acknowledge the thoughts that were coming up for me, acknowledge the feelings, acknowledge the sensations that I was experiencing. And if only I'd known to be able to actually make room for them and not try to get rid of them or suppress them or like push them down or numb them with food, that maybe that situation wouldn't have unfolded. And as much as I wish that I could go back and say those things to her, I can't. The reality is that we're here and now. That has passed. But even though I can't go back and help her, every day in my work I help clients who are in the same situation that I found myself in, and I want to help more people who resonate with this video and who feel like they also wish that they knew what to do in those situations. And that's why I created the emotional eating stopper, which is literally what I would have needed in that moment. I know my phone screen was cracked, but it's just a downloadable, something that you can save on your phone and look at, that takes you through step by step, almost like a grounding exercise. It takes less than 5 minutes for those moments when you're literally on that tipping edge, ready to slam down on the fuck it button and basically send it all to hell. So it's what I wish I'd had when I was on the tram, when I'd had that chocolate to help me self-soothe in that moment, because soothing with food is okay. But when I was having those thoughts and feelings of like, I fucked it, I'm just going to press the fuck it button, I've ruined it already, like I might as well just go for it. I wish I'd had something like the emotional eating stopper, because then I would have been able to follow like a super simple step-by-step process to just ground me, to just think through what I was going through, to actually just give myself a moment to pause. And if I'd done that, I wouldn't have ended up on the floor of my kitchen basically eating an entire cereal box with my hands while crying my eyes out. And I don't want you to ever have to go through something like that, or ever have to repeat going through something like that ever again, which is why you can download the Emotional Eating Stopper from the description completely for free. And please do me a favor and use it, because life is too short to be torturing yourself like that. Life is too short to be continuously harming yourself through food and not actually giving yourself the chance to take a minute and actually pause and think, what is it that I actually need right now, and what can I do for myself that is maybe actually going to meet the need that I really have. I hope that makes sense. It feels really vulnerable to share that story, but it's important that you know that things can get better, and downloading the Emotional Eating Stopper is the first step towards that. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.